Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stop what you're doing right now, because what I'm about to tell you is one of the most significant military revelations we've seen since this war began. And here's the thing, nobody announced it. There was no press conference, no official statement, no fanfare whatsoever. A British citizen, just an ordinary guy named John Felix, filed a simple Freedom of Information request with the UK Ministry of Defence. What came back in that response has the potential to fundamentally shift the dynamics on the battlefield in Ukraine. And Vladimir Putin is not going to like this. Not one bit. The United Kingdom has secretly transferred 99 of its most powerful self-propelled howitzers, its entire operational fleet, directly to Ukraine. We're talking about the AS-90. One of the most battle-tested and respected artillery systems in the Western world. And Ukraine just got all of them. Let me put this in perspective for you. This isn't some token gesture. This isn't a handful of weapons sent for symbolic support. This is Britain handing over the keys to its entire artillery capability and saying, "Here, you need this more than we do." That is extraordinary. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly makes the AS-90 so special? Why should we care about this particular system? Stay with me here, because this gets interesting. The AS-90, that stands for Artillery System for the 1,990 seconds, is a 45-ton tracked beast developed back in the 1,980 seconds, when the British Army wanted something better than the American-made M109 they'd been using for 2 decades. A company called Vickers answered that call, and what they built became legendary. This thing is over 32 feet long, weighs as much as a commercial truck, and can hit targets almost 20 miles away. It can fire 3 rounds in 10 seconds during burst mode. It can sustain 6 rounds per minute for 3 full minutes. And here's the kicker. It can transition from travel mode to firing mode in under 60 seconds. By the time Russian forces figure out where the shot came from, this thing is already gone. But perhaps the most impressive feature is something called MRSI, multiple round simultaneous impact technology. This allows a single AS-90 to fire 3 shells at different trajectories in rapid succession, essentially doing the work of 3 separate artillery systems at once. Imagine being a Russian soldier in a fortified position when 3 explosions hit you simultaneously from what you thought was 1 gun. That's psychological warfare as much as it is firepower. The AS-90 proved itself in Bosnia, in Kosovo, and dramatically during the Battle of Basra in 2003. General Robin Brims, who commanded British ground forces at the time, called its accuracy, quote, "way beyond anything that one might have expected," and listed it among the 5 big battle winners for British forces. Former UK Defence Minister Adam Ingram praised its 95% availability rate, meaning these systems rarely break down when you need them most. And now, Ukraine has nearly 100 of them. If you're finding this coverage valuable, take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We're committed to bringing you the most thorough analysis of this conflict, and your support makes that possible. Now, back to the story, because there's so much more to unpack here. Here's what makes this transfer strategically brilliant. Ukraine already operates a diverse mix of artillery, older Soviet systems like the Mista and Akatsiya, plus Western equipment including American M777S, French Caesars, and German PZH-2000s. Each has strengths and weaknesses. The AS-90 fills gaps that none of those other systems quite address. It's faster than the Mista, more durable than the PZH-2000, better on muddy, difficult terrain than the Caesar. And crucially, it's one of the best artillery systems in existence for cold, harsh winter conditions, perfect for the Ukrainian climate, especially during the brutal months we're heading into right now. Russia, by comparison, relies on essentially 3 types of artillery: the same Mistas and Akatsias that Ukraine uses, plus the two S-35 Howitzers, which is supposedly set to replace the MSTA, but exists only in tiny numbers. That's it. That's the Russian arsenal. Do you see what's happening here? Russia is stuck in a brute force strategy. Throw massive quantities of shells at a position and hope something hits. Ukraine, meanwhile, is building a sophisticated, flexible arsenal where commanders can select exactly the right tool for each tactical situation. The AS-90 for rapid strikes and repositioning. The Caesar for mobility. The M777 for precision. This isn't just addition, it's multiplication of Ukraine's combat effectiveness. Now, I mentioned earlier that John Felix's Freedom of Information request revealed 99 AS-90 seconds were transferred, but the full response contained even more surprises. The Ministry of Defense confirmed that Britain also sent 28 M109 howitzers, another proven American-designed artillery system that's been in service since 1963 and still forms the backbone of U.S. Army artillery. Additionally, all 54 L119 light howitzers that Britain pledged have been delivered. These are flexible, lightweight guns that can be towed by trucks or carried by helicopters, firing NATO standard ammunition at targets over 6 miles away. They're perfect for rapid deployment and supporting ground forces in the kind of fluid, fast-moving combat we're seeing in eastern Ukraine. And there's more. 168 combat vehicle reconnaissance units, a whole family of armored vehicles, including personnel carriers, command vehicles, and recovery vehicles, all delivered to Ukraine in 2024. Every single one Britain had left. But wait, there's one more piece to this puzzle, and it might be the most significant of all. In November 2025, reports emerged that Britain sent another batch of Storm Shadow cruise missiles to Ukraine. These are the Franco-British missiles that cost about $2.5 million each. They weigh nearly 3,000 pounds, carry a 1,000-pound warhead, and can travel over 340 miles to hit targets deep behind enemy lines. Each Storm Shadow is equipped with GPS navigation, inertial guidance systems, and terrain reference technology that makes them incredibly precise even when Russian forces try to jam their signals. Ukraine has already used these missiles to devastating effect, destroying ammunition depots, logistics hubs, and command posts far from the front lines. With more Storm Shadows in their arsenal, Ukrainian forces can continue striking the infrastructure that keeps Russia's war machine running: pipelines, oil refineries, military production facilities, drone factories. Every successful hit degrades Russia's ability to sustain this invasion. And here's the part that should terrify the Kremlin. Everything I just described, that's from one ally, one country, the United Kingdom alone. Ukraine has supporters across the European Union, Germany, Poland, Sweden, France. It has backing from the United States, from Japan, from Australia, from nations that aren't even part of NATO, all of them contributing weapons, ammunition, training, and intelligence. Russia has Iran, North Korea, and a transactional relationship with China partners who are primarily interested in extracting whatever they can from a desperate Kremlin. That's not an alliance. That's a collection of opportunists circling a wounded bear. The strategic implications here are profound. Ukraine isn't just surviving this war. Ukraine is transforming itself into one of the most capable military powers in Europe. Its forces are gaining experience with sophisticated Western systems. Its commanders are learning NATO tactics and doctrine. Its defense industry is innovating at remarkable speed. Every AS-90 that arrives in Ukraine represents not just firepower, but knowledge transfer. Ukrainian crews are learning to operate, maintain, and maximize these systems. Ukrainian engineers are studying how to keep them running, how to repair battle damage, how to adapt them for their specific needs. We've seen this pattern before. Ukraine has kept systems like the M777 and Caesar operational far longer than Western analysts expected. Their technical crews extract maximum value from every piece of equipment their allies provide. There's no reason to believe they won't do the same with these 99 AS-90 seconds. When you step back and look at the full picture, something remarkable becomes clear. This war is accelerating Ukraine's evolution into a modern, Western standard military force. Each delivery, each training program, each battlefield adaptation brings them closer to that goal. Meanwhile, Russia continues burning through its Soviet-era stockpiles, its outdated tactics, its irreplaceable experienced personnel. Time is not on Putin's side. The revelation of this weapons transfer, discovered not through official channels, but through a citizen's simple information request, tells us something important about the nature of this support. Western allies aren't just sending weapons. They're investing in Ukraine's future as a European power. What we're witnessing isn't just military assistance. It's a fundamental realignment of European security. And the AS-90 delivery is one more piece of evidence that the free world has decided Ukraine must not fall. The numbers tell a compelling story. 99 AS-90 seconds, 28 M109S, 54 L119 howitzers, 168 reconnaissance vehicles, and an undisclosed number of Storm Shadow cruise missiles, all from Britain alone. Now multiply that across dozens of supporting nations. Factor in the ammunition, the spare parts, the training programs, the intelligence sharing, the economic support. What emerges is a picture of unprecedented international coordination in support of a nation defending itself against aggression. Putin gambled that the West would lose interest, that support would waver, that domestic politics would fracture the coalition. Instead, we see governments quietly, systematically, deliberately emptying their arsenals to ensure Ukraine has what it needs to win. The AS-90 transfer is more than a military story. It's a statement of values, a declaration that nations which respect sovereignty and international law will stand together when those principles are challenged. And for the Russian soldiers facing these weapons on the battlefield, their commanders in Moscow made promises about quick victory and limited resistance. Those promises were lies. The reality they face now includes nearly 100 of the most capable artillery systems Britain ever built. That's not the news Putin wanted to hear this week, or any week going forward. Stay with us for continuing coverage of this developing story.